Firewise committee meeting for. First on the agenda is the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mayor Pro Tem Jake Crane,
I don't go on the list because I'm a liaison. We're only, just the
John Moss,
here.
Mark Manley, Brian Lindsay,
Here.
Mike Laverty,
Here.
Chief Vance,
Yes,
Chris Rockno.
we're also non-voting members, so you don't need to call us.
In the list.
Yep.
Sounds good.
You have a quorum.
We have four.
Russell still off in Oregon.
He is, he's on the, Salmon Fire.
So the approval of last month's agenda, did everybody receive that?
Yeah, I'll, move that we accept, the, agenda from the last meeting. I second that.
Approved.
Oh,
Take a vote.
we have to have a vote. Mike Laverty, aye. Approved.
Aye. Approved. Comments, questions from community or honest members? Nominations to fill the empty positions. We'll recommend the village council.
I nominate Jeff and Tammy Wallace.
Just a point of information there. I did check with the village manager, and having husband and wife serve on the same committee is not a problem. Totally fine. But the one caveat here will be, we'd like to keep the committees at an odd number for voting purposes. And so we would go ahead and seat potentially both committee members. That process would be a recommendation to the mayor. He will nominate them at a council meeting, council will then approve, and we would essentially have one of you serve as an alternate. What that process is going to look like is anytime the alternate needs to be activated for voting status, that would need to be done prior to gaveling in the meeting. So if, John, if you were out and we needed both, you and your wife to serve, you would simply, before the gaveling, say, we're going to have the alternate serve as an active voting member today, and that would be it. The reason we do that is so that seeing them both doesn't cause a larger quorum.
Odd number.
Yep.
I mean, even number.
Yep. So,
Okay, but they can step in to make a quorum.
correct. Yeah, you just treat them like a bench player. You just have to activate them as a starter before the meeting begins.
Okay.
That's kind of how it goes.
Should we ask Jeff to say a little bit about himself, or just why you want to be interested in serving on this committee?
Well, it's gonna be nice to be involved, see what the decision-making process is like and, how to improve the community and make sure that, we don't have some bigger issues, when these fires spark up around how we can mitigate that. So, yeah, it's something that we're both interested in.
I'll, put in a note on Jeff's behalf. Jeff we met about a year ago, or maybe a little bit better, when he bought a property that originally had some involvement with years ago, or next door to one that I had. And he and I have actively conversed about Firewise and about the Cimarron Watershed Alliance and the initiatives that are happening around here. He's very much interested in all that we're doing, so I think he'd make a good member.
Also add, he's very active in firewood interest.
Okay. And what neighborhood do you live in, if you don't mind me asking?
We live up by the country club now. We have property up on Brazos as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so both, because we're kind of looking for people in different areas.
Yeah.
with different experiences, yeah.
He's about a mile south of the Brazos.
Well, that sounds great.
They asked them.
Okay. Maybe part of the bigger. I'll nominate for Jeff, or did you?
I
I'll
nominate.
second that.
Yep.
Okay. All in favor?
All right, very good.
We'll put it to the council.
Council.
Thanks for serving the community.
Are we intending to nominate both Jeff and Tammy? Is that the
So
intention?
we need to structure that, right? So
Yeah. Make sure, yeah, so make sure,
Motion would be to nominate Jeff and Tammy as one full seat and one alternate member.
So you need, one for the permanent seat and then one separately for the alternate seat.
Okay, so two different motions.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one was to
Do you want
nominate
to
Jeff.
be alternate or the permanent?
I'll be the permanent.
Okay, and Tammy will be the alternate.
Yeah.
So need a nomination for Jeff.
I'll nominate Jeff. Well, do we need to start over with Jeff being the,
Jeff Wallace is the primary member.
yeah, so I'll nominate Tammy Wallace to be the alternate.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
perfect.
Very good. How we're gonna move forward?
We're run along. Did we do the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so we did, that was the approval of the previous minutes. We also need to approve, so you have to approve the agenda and the minutes is separate.
Oh, the agenda and the minutes.
Yeah.
I did not do that.
That's okay. We can go back and clean that up real quick.
So approve the agenda.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Yes.
So the community wildfire defense grant. update. Do I have any information? The last I heard is
Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything new. I think, Romo was kind of taking the lead on that one.
This,
The email thread that I saw last week was that they have contracts signed and it's back in someone's hands, but we hadn't had any reply about that. So they're trying to get actually hands-on dollars and get started. And we'd like to set up a meeting, in the next couple of weeks with Rick Smith and village management to get a plan together, to present to this committee.
good, yeah, it'd be good, like I say, maybe cutting in the fall. Be-
Laura is the gal's name that it's in her court, I think. Let me just check that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be the state foresters, yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that sounds good. That's all encouraging, moving forward. The forest ambassador employment update, to Tyra. Have we had any leads on job applications or?
None. We did some additional advertising this week, for the fire ambassador position. Oh, I'm sorry, we did get one applicant.
Okay.
And beginning the screening process for that.
Okay. And I gave the link to my partner at State Forestry, and then they were gonna let Highlands know anybody that's recent graduates or like looking for a job in the area.
Okay.
So hopefully, yeah, we'll just keep on that. Property access and wildfire mitigation status.
That was approved by this, body the last time we met. It was too late to get it on the agenda for a council meeting, so I'll be submitting it for a vote to submit to council along with the recommendations for the two new committee members for next Tuesday's meeting.
Okay, so it's gonna go to council.
Yep, right to council,
Good deal.
to pass it to legal.
New business, danger fire, wildland and fuels update.
They're burning in the ACI this week. I don't know what their current volume is, but, we only have 2 personnel left back. We have 3 personnel on, pre-position deployment for the Cimarron district, forestry district. And they've been assigned to random fires. There've been, 25 to 28 random new starts last week, in the general area. And then Captain Romo, as I stated earlier, is on the salmon fire in Oregon. So, we're still open for business. They may be, they're not gonna burn today or tomorrow in the ACI burner because they're expected up to 35 to 45 mile per hour gusts. So we either burn towards the back half of the week or not burn at all.
Really tomorrow.
But I'm still, yes, sir.
Yeah, but it's keeping up with everything. I mean, to me, it seems
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's flowing, right? Like it's,
Yeah, and, Andrew Archuleta is the machine. He's been keeping up with all the pickups. There's currently no backlog and he's on deployment right now. And, right before he left, he had 0 backlog of pickup. So
Okay.
doing really well mitigating that.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Is this a good spot maybe to do our blue flag update that just happened?
Sure, for any new business? Or-
Yeah, I mean, just, under new business here, you're giving the fuel update, just as a comment.
That's wild enough, but sure.
So I know John was here. Council just had a special meeting right before you all where we had instituted a blue flag water conservation update. We have had a failure, maybe failure is not the right way to say it, the Peralta well is not producing like it's supposed to. An investigation was done and found cracked bedrock at the bottom. So it's leaking out the bottom. And secondly, the static level was down over 150 feet from what it's supposed to be. So that well is now not able to be used as a primary, and the village is gonna look to put an exploratory well and likely end up with a new well to supplement what we're not gonna get out of Peralta. There was a meeting this morning with the state engineer's office and the water officials, and this is not unique to us, unfortunately. It's dry, it's been dry. We haven't had a good snow in a couple of years, and so we're all looking at our wells and our water production. In this case, since Chief Vance was giving the updates, the other thing that's important for us is making sure the tanks are full in the event we do have a fire. So we're going under the blue flag level 2 water restrictions as of today. Notices are going to be going out. We're putting together a flyer. The resolution asks all short-term rentals to make sure this is posted, that people know. Don't wash your cars, don't fill your hot tubs. We do not want to get to level 3 restrictions. That's going to get a lot more onerous. So we have plenty of water. The tanks are in good shape. There's no concern, but we're trying to be as on the front end as we can of conservation so that we don't get to a level 3 problem. So there wasn't a spot on that for the agenda, but since it's kind of fire related, I thought we should go ahead and make everyone know. And we're going to be broadcasting that everywhere. So to tell anyone, where water restrictions conserved. So
It's good to know. I'm gonna turn a couple people off.
yeah. So sorry it wasn't on the agenda. I just thought it was a good
That's
spot.
good. No, thank you for
Yep.
the update. Wildland team's doing good. Discussion on stumps and pine needles. We opened that up last week when we were talking about the charging of pine needles. Is there any more updates on that? Is that something we still want to discuss further? I like seeing it how it is and bringing in the revenue for now. I've been home some pine needles. It's a little bit, but it's really good. I think in the future, we should look at that for the outside. If that's a capacity issue, I think that's a longer conversation. And maybe we'll know after the CWA starts, how that slash starts disappearing.
Right.
And then in the county on a regular day, could the team keep up with Angel Fire and surrounding areas?
If
If that was a fee structure for out of the village.
Mhm. So the question is, 2-part, whether we should allow outside, areas to bring in pine needles and stumps for a fee
And slash in general.
and slash. And then part B would be if we can lift fees for village residents.
If that could get to a point where it could relieve the pine needle fee for the residents by charging
Outside
the
entities.
valley, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
But we're just watching the inflow and seeing how that is.
I think
the
it-
Wildland budget.
It's the beginnings of the idea. The thought here is if we quit charging for pine needles within the village residents, would we actually see more compliance of people picking the pine needles up?
Yeah.
Now, that's gonna create a lot more material, and that's what we want. And so it may be that we have to do this in 2 stages. It may be that, we have to figure out which bucket we wanna go after first. Do we wanna go after higher compliance rates inside of the village? Or do we wanna open it up to, near county residents, for a fee? To your point, if that would help offset the loss of fee from inside of the village. The biggest concern is, and I think we're all kind of waiting to get through this season and see how it goes. But we're looking for input. Which order? Do you do the inside of the village first? Do you do the outside of the village first? And ultimately, both of those have to get a head nod from all the folks in charge of getting rid of that material. So, it's a good idea. I don't know that we're looking to implement it necessarily right now. We've got August, September, October, so we basically have 3 months left of collections. But I do think if the season continues to go well, it's something maybe we look at in the, after the first of the year for next year. But we wanted to kind of bounce it around as an idea of which one do we want to go after first? And could we go after them at the same time, or do we need to do one year and one the next year just to see what the material flows look like?
Yeah, and should we wait and then this year see what the revenue was, how that supplements the wildland budget? And see what the pros and cons are there. And then we'll know how much material is brought in too for the year, right?
Right. I guess the tricky part is if you did them both, if you just say they're free to take in, we might get a glut of materials that we weren't expecting, because people go, hey, I don't have,
And pine needles are harder to burn.
yeah, it's very labor intensive.
Yeah, the revenue that we get from Slash is relatively a set revenue from the wildfire protection fee, so we can't have that anticipated cost. The hardest piece is, the eat what you kill mentality from the village for the wildland team to take care of itself. And so all the money that they make while on deployment, basically supplements their salaries and carries the weight of the department. So, the more they're out, the more money they make, but the less they're available to do things like this. And those are always those balancing acts. My preference is to have these conversations with Captain Romo present, and typically that's in the non-fire season, anytime after October or so.
Okay, so let's get through this season, monitor it, and talk about it over the winter.
We did,
Look at the numbers.
this is sort of tied in, but we did just submit our application for the YCC grant again, and had a meeting with them that went very well, and so we're thinking, we have fair chance, good chance of getting a YCC grant, and hopefully we address the concerns they had last.
Good.
So the added labor that we get from, YCC, the added manpower, I should say, does help free up some of our people to be able to process more, but that's not gonna be an ongoing thing, but it's definitely a proof of concept to hire more people on if we develop that need.
Yeah, it sure helps, right? And they can run a chipper or do something.
Yes, sir.
Here and there. Okay, that's great. Thanks for the update on that. The, Mike had come up with some strategies for kind of media and outreach.
And there again, I'm not sure if you wanna hold those for a work session or if that's appropriate, because which nobody's seen it except for myself, and we got new members on board, and we got this, open position of the forest ambassador, who I think would take a prominent role in some of these efforts. So I don't know if you wanna have a open conversation right now, or
You wanna give a 2-minute elevator pitch and let us know what you're thinking and see if it's something we wanna dive into, because I think we're doing pretty well on time so far.
okay. Jake, did you get one of these things, topics for discussion?
Yep, it sure did.
It's kind of a scattershot approach, but it's stuff that I've been thinking about. And the first topic where I have public engagement, I've been thinking that maybe the new Firewise committee and the new Firewise getting Angel Fire, officially a Firewise community, maybe we can play off of that and use it to start keeping this drum that we want to beat about mitigation, about DSO, about all the things that we're talking about doing around here. I had one of my thoughts was, and most of us can watch the evening news for the last 6 months, it's been Route 66, this and that, and all the history of the last 100 years and whatnot. And of course, for the last 3 years, forest fires have been a huge topic of discussion, and Rio Doso has been the downside poster child for that. And I've been thinking, well, maybe Angel Fire can take the lead, be the upside poster child. And I was thinking, like, maybe we could interest one of the TV stations in actually, taking this on as one of those, just like the Route 66 thing, and whether they have a show once a month or from time to time, whereas things get accomplished, and maybe we could interest them in getting on board. and, helping publicize this, because it's not just an Angel Fire thing, it's a state of New Mexico thing, and whether it's the fires and the floods, or it's a huge jumps in the insurance or the cancellation of homeowners insurance, there's so many aspects of this, the Forest Service. I did a tail end of this thing, I think I did a quick list of the stakeholders, and there's so many stakeholders in this thing, from the state all the way down to local and whatnot, that would have an interest in promoting what we're trying to promote through Firewise. I think there's maybe an opportunity there. Obviously we've talked before about the signs and, social and print media, all of those, different tools, put it on the water bill. Every time Angel Fire advertises a condo and ski package, put it at the bottom of their advertising. Remember, Angel Fire is a Firewise community, do your part, the Smoking the Bear kind of thing. Anyway, that's some thoughts there. And more specifically, we've got the DSO, but maybe through Firewise, and maybe I just kind of created this title, Angel Fire Firewise Site and Building Recommendations. And maybe that would be a more, on top of the DSO, a little more specific recommendations, more in a public information manner about what we're looking to accomplish and what we want people to help us with. And I think we've talked a few times, Chief, I've seen on TV, and I've read in trade magazines about new architectural standards. And I think specifically in California, they're really going to be mandating building materials, building techniques, whatnot, to help mitigate, the damage from fires, possible damage from fires. And so that just dovetails, and you think the architectural committee and this committee, that might be another piece that kind of dovetails with the DSO and the other mitigation efforts is, and maybe you probably couldn't mandate it or anytime soon, but it's one of those things. We'll think about this, think about the materials that you have your architect, your builder specify for the exterior of the building, and on and on and on. I think those are topics that maybe we could add to our list of things that we're trying to promote in the community. And Chief, we talked before about the early site development, encroachment permits and slash permits, and how those dovetail, and maybe temporary use permits, how we could encourage people to start early and clean their properties. Jeff, for instance, is doing that right now, and he's not going to build for till next year or the year after. He's already working on some of these preliminary steps to get ready. So when he is ready to build, he's DSO compliant. He's got his driveway in. He's got his utilities in. He can call, a builder and say, hey, "I'm ready to go right now," and you start in the spring, I'll be ready to go. It won't be starting to clean the property or starting to call Kit Carson to get utilities, etc. One specific item, the next one, demonstration projects, and Brian and I met at the lunch wagon one day, and we were talking about that. And I wonder if we couldn't, well, I'm sure there's a lot of details to work out here, but let's just say we've got somebody, corporation or kid or somebody to donate a lot to be cleaned up. And let's say Brian suggested that maybe we have 2 or 3 different lots with different forest types, but in very simple terms, you go make right behind the Valley Market or right over here by the community center, very convenient location for the new forest ambassador, or the chief, or Jake, or me, or Brian, or anybody involved. You're talking to somebody and they want to know what do you mean by this DSO? Oh, just drive over here to lot 123 on Via Del Rey or whatever. And we've got a lot that we've, through a volunteer effort or however, effort, we've cleaned it up and it's make it a demonstration project for, and could be used for, Joe Blow from Dallas that's coming in here, or the local contractors who are maybe interested in getting on board and helping with this effort, because we're gonna need a lot more people. And we wanna know what is the standard. We'll go look at this lot or look at that lot. This is what we're looking for, what our expectations are, which may also play into the TV show thing where they could show a lot next door and then the lot that's been mitigated. And even maybe to the extent of getting the encroachment permit, get a culvert and a rough in a driveway, have the property corners clearly staked for that use and for other uses. And then actually have the lot cleaned and maybe firewood angels and maybe some local contractors, maybe the village, maybe the corporation. We all pitch in for this specific effort so that the end result is you have a tool to show people what our expectations are and what the whole DSO and mitigation effort means to them individually on a typical Angel Fire lot.
Mike, if that comes to fruition, I would love to volunteer my role.
I bet you would. But yeah,
Firewood Angel's gonna be involved in this. So.
so I don't pretend that'll be easy to do, and we'd have to come up with some equitable way to figure out, a demonstration lot or whatever. But it seemed like it might answer a lot of questions for a lot of people to be able to, and say the new ambassador invites people to go buy this lot and say, this is what our expectations are for this effort. So, and like I said, when you start thinking about the stakeholders involved, geez, they keep thinking of more and more and more, and how what we promote here in our community of Angel Fire can have a regional wide effect. And maybe some of these things are already happening on your level, Chief, that I'm not aware of, but it seems like there's so many entities that have an involvement in the state and the region becoming Firewise that, somebody's got to do it. Why don't we do it here at Angel Fire and take the lead and try to create a standard for the region as well as for our specific community. So that's just some random kind of thoughts that I've been mulling over and I don't pretend to be an expert and I don't pretend to think that we should implement everything that I say we ought to do, but I think I think maybe this will stimulate the conversation and others on the committee bring other topics forward and in concert with you guys and others and determine, if some of these ideas have merit and what we should move forward with, and probably ultimately the council.
Yeah,
I know that's a lot.
Well, I see, it's a great list of ideas, and as you kept going, there's so many of them, like, oh yeah, the certification signs on the lot, it just kind of makes sense, right? You want to see those things propagating forever, and I'm just sitting here going, man, there's a lot of this, it's a workload question, like, if Lindsay was here, we would be probably handing her 5 things to task with and come back to us, and I think that therein lies the challenge, is how to get, the media blitz, the public notification rolling, without having that ambassador is the hard part, right? I would think a flyer, like, I know I mentioned at the last council meeting that we had achieved Firewise status, but I don't know that we've, published that in the Taos News, that we've put a flyer together, or that it's going on the digital billboards yet. Like, we need to kind of have what I guess the first splash of, hey, Firewise is here, we're getting ready to put signs up.
Maybe that in and of itself is a way to open the door with one of the TV stations.
Sure.
Even if it's just a little blurb on TV.
Yeah.
The age of fire is now Firewise, official Firewise community, and they're starting the effort to, for forest fire mitigation in.
Well, and the road that, this committee and council's put us on is, several years of work to compliance and carrots and sticks. Like we've council and thanks to Chief Vance's work, we've gotten the fee reduction done for lots that were certified by June 1. How many people outside of this room know that? You know what I mean? Like we've gotta find a way to advertise our carrots and sticks, hopefully more carrots, but eventually the DSO has some sticks in it down the road. So I think your points are all well taken. It's just a question of how much money to spend on it, who to task it with, and so on and so forth. So, I know we're always throwing stuff at Chief Vance, build a new building, put another wildland team together. We keep piling on. That's how it is working at the village. So, hopefully we can fill that ambassador spot and really start to work on this. But if that's gonna be open for a while, we may wanna get with, tourism or someone that might be able to put us a flyer together, quickly, even if it's AI, whatever, that's 80% of the bullet points we're going.
This committee can
Yeah.
do some of these things as well. I know Chief had mentioned before that, prior committees said, go do this.
Yeah.
And I'm not really saying that. I'm saying these are some ideas that maybe we ought to entertain and then figure out who's best to do it and not necessarily throw everything
Sure.
Chief's way and maybe the new ambassador and maybe others, be appropriate to have, an involvement in some of these initiatives. And yeah, and obviously there's priorities and there's, strategies and there's budgets and all that kind of stuff. So maybe you go through this kind of conversation. Well, okay, what's our highest priority of right now? Let everybody know that the Angel Fire is a Firewise community. How do we do that? Do we get it on TV? Do we put it on, the internet or whatever? Do we have somebody from Firewise USA come present the plaque to the town? And by the way, I haven't been able to get an answer on when that'll be coming. But
Sure.
I'm gonna try again.
Well, the other way for committees to move things along is if you all wanted to mock up a flyer with, whatever you think your top 3 are. Obviously, committees have every right to vote to elevate something to council. So if there's work product that you guys want to delve into and, not put off onto the department, 100% we would support that. I guess I would recommend it, if we're gonna put Firewise's logo, it's probably gonna be blessed on there. We're gonna ultimately have to have this all done properly, but I would also recommend the, linking to the DSO, talking about the fee reduction schedule. Like we're trying to get people excited in participating in this program, not oh, here's another thing I've got to do, right? So if while the ambassador spot is open, if you all, any of you want to bring something forth and elevate it to council, we'll certainly take it up that way. I would say at this point, I am not a huge social media fan just because I feel like it's such a time suck, but it's just such a convenient way for us to communicate to our owners. Our residents are one thing, but we have so many part-timers that Facebook is how they hear about everything that council and the resort and all the other entities in town are doing. So I would certainly recommend that flyer be social media friendly, easy to throw up there, but if
We've talked about having under the auspices of the village, have maybe under the fire department, a bullet that's, online bullet that says Angel Fire Firewise Committee, and then.
Yeah.
And that's maybe where we could post some of the stuff that
Sure.
we're doing. And I think Brian and I talked about maybe, putting an official once a month update in there. Whatever there's, just to keep it in front of people.
Yeah.
Say this committee's working and this is what we're talking about now. These are some of the topics that are coming up, and just to somehow get that information out there or it starts registering in people's minds that there's an effort going
Sure.
on. So,
I'd like to respond to some of the things here, and all of my duties here at the village. I kind of see myself in wearing many different hats. For this particular committee, I see myself more as a project manager rather than anything else. We just kind of came in with an old group and literally almost verbatim everything that you said in that, in the beginning has been discussed at one point or another. You've been a part of some of those meetings where we've discussed some of these things. And the major sticking point for the fire adapted committee where we came from, was some paralysis by analysis. We had a lot of shotgun scattering of assignments made to the fire chief. You should do this, X, Y, Z and everything else. But what we didn't do well is prioritize those things into low hanging fruit, or into, sizable bites. And so my ask from you is, the prioritization of those ideas. Let's focus on the low hanging fruit things. First thing that I see that is doable, and I love the idea, is if we can combine the lot signs, the lot access, the temporary use permits, and the home hardening descriptions that you gave. Those are kind of all functions of buying a lot here in Angel Fire, getting your DSO permit, getting a lot sign, getting your lot access agreement. We currently have in ordinance a way for you to access your lot and begin work on your lot, but nobody knows about it, to your point. And then home hardening, I don't think there's been a whole lot of effort put forward. That's one of our phasing plans. So really, a lot of this work of the body of this group has been, first of all, let's get our stuff together and let's get committee members. And we've been struggling up until this point. I think we have great momentum now. I'm very grateful for you to be here and for everybody to have some momentum. But now is when we can start prioritizing these tasks. So one thing that this committee could be doing right now is organizing stuff that we already have in the books with our ordinances and so forth, to put something together to say, hey, are you thinking of building a new an Angel Fire? You're a great example of this too, because you just kind of went through this. You've just cleared all your lot. I don't know if your guys have been out, or our guys have been out to give you a defensible space ordinance, but I've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
I drove by it this weekend. Congratulations. It looks like you're getting close to being done. But we already have on the books, over 112 DSO assessments that we've done. Just a quick note, we can't do anything that's worth over $20 of value without violating anti-donation clauses too. So we'd have to be really careful about Village of Angel Fire doing those things unless it was a village owned lot. I'll just throw that out there. But that being said, we already have many lots that, that's what Lindsay was doing when people wanted, our fire ambassador, our previous fire ambassador, when people wanted an example, she would give them 4 or 5 addresses. Go take a look at this one, go take a look at that one. Look at Mike Laverty's property, all the stuff that he's done on his lot. And so we kind of had that. They weren't necessarily convenient and close to Village Hall, but we do have those examples. So the home building process, purchasing a lot, getting a defensible space ordinance, getting your temporary use permits and all those things, I think we can bundle those in a really easy package to advertise. And that's something we can do tomorrow.
And
So-
invite it to the architectural committee. They can handle out, realtors can
Yep.
hand it out to prospective buyers and builders.
So, here's where the nitty gritty always comes down is who's gonna take that and run with it? That's what this committee has not been doing well, with saying, here's another one that's kind of low hanging fruit, maybe, or maybe not. Does anybody here have any close ties with anybody in media? Does anybody know Mark Ronchetti very well? And if that answer is yes, you're our guy. And I don't wanna put it off and wait till we get Lindsay Reed here or the next Lindsay Reed here in that position, because that might be 6 months from now. But we need a poster child. We need somebody to stand up in front of the media person and say, do the interview and everything else.
Do we need council approval first, or can I call Action 7 News and say, hey, I'm Mike Lavery from the Angel Fire Firewise Committee. I got an idea that you might be interested in. Is it
I
as
think-
simple as that?
If this body decided that they like something and like a public campaign and put something together, what is the idea that we're gonna project? I think we should run that before council. And council says, I like that idea. I don't know that that's a requirement necessarily. I think it would depend on the scope of that. But if it was just something that was just advertising for the Village of Angel Fire, I think it'd be real easy to just run that by Greg Ralph and his team, make sure we're not overlapping with things that they're doing, or
Sure.
maybe include them. They have some resources as well.
Yeah, I didn't want to be presumptuous
Yeah.
but it's tempting just to call them up and say,
Yeah, I think
pick
that's,
up a name off the TV, show and say, hey.
Just to me, that's a presentation on an agenda item, 3 council meetings from now, next council meeting, that says, this is what I'm thinking of presenting, this is what I would like to present to media, and it's Firewise, and we're new, and maybe we need to get on that right away. Maybe that's our first order of business, maybe that's the
Feel
lowest
like
thing.
This is the stair step, the first step is, this is official and it's, maybe we can use that to jumpstart our initiative, whatever that initiative is.
Kind of to my point, though, if I say, okay, Mike, you're gonna be the guy and you're gonna do those things for us, then you're gonna be juggling, well, which one do I do first? Am I gonna, so those things are kind of hard to juggle. Another thing, another idea I have is if somebody has a really good IT type of background. Because I can tell you that the worst problem that we've had with the Village of Angel Fire is that, I've gotten access to the IT back end of the website, and it is very, very cumbersome. It's very outdated and it's not user friendly. So, I can ask our friend Chris over here. He's pretty IT savvy. Shake your head, Chris.
We gotta,
But like just updates, for example, Mark called me on Friday and he said, hey, chief, somebody's interested in getting a DSO. How do I do that? And I said, just go to the website and click on the link. And, to your point, we do have an area in there that's Firewise, and there's a link that says services, I think it is. We click on that and it's 404 dead page.
right.
So
Right.
we don't even have the DSO assessment link on the website. We identified that on Friday. So I've got to get that fixed. And so there's only one person in the village. It's kind of the be all end all back end wizard of that. And when Sherry comes back, she's our number 2, but we'll get that fixed. But it's not easy. And so like if somebody wanted to step up in that capacity and say, hey, I'll make updates to the village webpage, we can grant access, we can get you all signed in, do all the back end disclosures and all that stuff or training you need in order to get you satisfied, but maybe you can be that person. And if we have a social media person, maybe that Lindsay Reed person, like when she was here, she did a lot of that for us. It would make some of these things easier. They're all solvable. Every single one of these things that we have on our books are all solvable. But we just need to focus our attention on which one do y'all want to run with and what are we doing this week? And if we can get that done by the next meeting, then we'll focus on the next thing. But that prioritization is really what I need and the help and the buy-in from this committee to help us moving forward.
There's a new guy in town who's been around a year or so. His name's Tom Collier, and he's building a house over by the lake somewhere, and met him a while back, and he does small jobs, contractor wise here, but he's also an retired IT guy from Sandia Labs.
Okay. This is probably below his pay grade.
I don't know, but I could call him and see if, when we have an IT problem at home, Tom, can you fix this for me,
Well, yeah, it's really not IT, it's really website development, website IT.
And to piggyback onto that, I think it was a week ago, our manager Weir went to all department heads and said, go clean up your websites, because we had found there was old and outdated information with just about every department within the Village of Angel Fire. And it creates confusion. If we're saying one thing here at Village Hall, we have a new ordinance on, and then you can still find something that's old, from a post in 2018 on the website, well, you gotta scrub all that old stuff out of there.
And we're among the better departments, but we didn't have any say-so in the design of that web page and stuff, and so it's cumbersome from the get-go. It's not user-friendly from the get-go.
Yeah, and it's not really public user friendly either.
Right.
To be honest.
Right. You're not wrong.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea of the flyer. Could be a good thing to be right away to have like a visitor center that we can hear in the front with the permits, kind of a colorful, hopefully we can get a rude Firewise flyer. And let's have that.
Like maybe the architectural committee, realtors, anybody who's involved.
Something we can just hand out real quick.
Yeah.
Gives a little bit of, and so let's set a work meeting. You want to do a work session to talk
Are
about
we
this?
gonna do a Firewise announcement campaign, and that is the flyer and media blast?
I think that sounds like a good idea to me. Like I said, I think this is a place to start, and
Yep.
why not toot our horn and do whatever we think we need to do to get it.
So,
And if we did happen to get lucky to get some TV coverage on this, whatever it is, maybe we could get copies of that, put it on our website, so when people do access our website, the Firewise, whatever, that's another piece that they can see what we're trying to accomplish around here.
yep, so like we could start divvying out responsibilities on actions. What are we gonna do by the next meeting? Are you gonna reach out, or are we gonna develop a plan first? Are we gonna have a meeting this week on that? Do you wanna meet Thursday or Friday? Decide on the
Have to
message
go to
we're
the
gonna have?
Take something to council to get it approved by them first, so that we have a work session, come up with something to go to council, get council approval, and then implement it.
No, I think we can have a work session. I think we can talk about, like, let's organize our thoughts and let's say, what are we gonna do? What is the things that we're gonna do? It's gonna be A, B, C, D, and E, and who's doing each of those pieces. Go off into the wild and reconvene in a week, and then if we have a message we can take back to council, if we need to take it back to council, we will. If it's something we can just run by the village manager, we can do that too.
Now, we have a work session, I think it's a good idea. Do we have to do an official work session?
So yeah, so let's talk about the how work sessions work. So any committee can host a work session. A work session is much more informal. There's not an agenda driving, what's happening over the hour. The only thing you can't do at a work session is vote something forward. So if you choose to do this activity at a work session, just understand you're then gonna have to have a regular committee meeting to take whatever work product comes out of the work session, codify it with a vote, and send it on to council. So I'm not trying to derail. I agree 100% with what the chief said. But if one of you is sitting up there quietly going, I could design this thing in about 15 minutes with my AI at home and the short list of what Mike's done here, then it might be faster to just simply have each of you tasked with coming back with a flyer or your ideas of what needs to be on the flyer, or voting what those ideas need to be on the flyer, and then saying, we're gonna bring this back at the next meeting. In other words, you guys don't all have to sit here for a 2-hour work session to hammer out a flyer. If one of you's, gifted at that already and wants to say, I will bring it back by next meeting, you could shortcut this whole process. Because of how this flyer is gonna get done, you're gonna have to get the Village of Angel Fire to bless it, because it's gonna be their work product. We're gonna have to get Firewise to bless it, because I'm assuming the logo is gonna be on there. So just trying to think how many meetings you want this process to take. If I could suggest, if you guys could right now, because it's an agenda item, media and public outreach. So you guys could say, take a vote on that item. Here's the top 3 things we want on the flyer. And then one of you raise your hand and say, I will commit to, or let's all of us bring an idea and vote on it at the next meeting. That would be the shortest timeline possible to get this done. So I'm not trying to discourage the work session. It just means more meetings for you.
Sure,
Right, and I'm just thinking, yeah, we could get some, maybe at that time, we could talk about soon, flyer, that's low hanging fruit, go on, and then discuss media strategy, and if we want to take that to council for.
I like Chief's idea of this welcome package for prospective homeowners, or whatever you want to call it, document, and then some kind of kickoff for Firewise, promoting that Angel Fire as an official Firewise community, and how we want to.
I would recommend we keep those two things separate. I think Firewise announcement is quite a big project by itself, developing a flyer with everybody's logos on it that everybody approves, and we can put it out there in media. That's a project in and of itself.
I like the idea of those two things maybe being our top priorities right now. Some of the other ideas that other members have, we can discuss later, and how but if you want to pick the low hanging fruit, we got one here. And then I think the building package thing is a perspective. Building package is kind of low hanging fruit too. It shouldn't be too hard to get something together of this. And then take a little while to put it together.
It sort of expands on this, but I'd like to get you copies and get everybody copies of like what our phase plan has been. Do you guys have a copy of the phase plan? Of like where we started out? And like,
I've got a reference to that. Right, there's the whole face.
Obviously today, I know you've had some.
You're not talking about the risk
Conversations,
No, this is the phases and.
but,
Yeah, so I don't think I have that one.
BJ can probably tell you off the top of his head, but kind of when we started to go towards the Firewise, it's, first we gotta get adopted as Firewise, and that was the hardest thing to do. We had so much work to do up until that point. And we kept knocking off these little things one at a time, and we finally became the Firewise committee. It's kind of like, now what? And then now what is where the real trick is, and I think these might mix into what our other priorities are, because now we're trying to build the whole village up to 50% compliance, and 50% compliance is a magic number to where we start changing the aspect or our viewpoint of how we enforce or entice people to get their defensible space. Like there's these benchmarks that we've set. So our long-term plan, that we stay on track with that. So we always need to assess that long-term plan and make sure that we're aligned with that process.
Just to summarize, basically at 50%, it directs the village to start actually finding lots that are not in compliance. And at 75% adoption, in other words, we have 75% of our lots compliance, that last 25%, it directs the village to either begin clean and lean procedures or some type of foreclosure procedures. And it was done that way because we anticipate that 50 and 75 is gonna take many years to get to. And so right now, it's all very slow. You certify your lot, you're gonna save, 60, 70 bucks a year in wildland fees that your neighbor's not. So it's kind of the slow trickle, but there is kind of in the back of that head, our concern of, if all of a sudden we were to have a huge jump in compliance, well, now we're gonna have to jump to what the DSO, tells us to do as a council.
And I think there's space for somebody new coming in to read that long-term plan and have some ideas that say, well, if that's our overall objective, then maybe our priorities should be X, Y, Z, because this is one of the steps for sure. All of these things are a part of that, but I want to make sure that we move towards those objectives of promoting the DSO and getting everybody's lots thinned out as it pertains to a structure on a home. And we have some definitions. We're starting with lots with structures on that lot. And so you may say that the biggest concern here is all the empty lots, and it's valid. There are more empty lots than there are lots without homes, but there's much more difficulty. It's not as low hanging fruit with those empty lots, lots without structures, lots without utilities, developed versus undeveloped lots and so forth. There's just a lot that goes into this. And so that's why we're trying to break it up in small groups. And with the DSO, it's pretty easy. It's cut and dry. It's well-defined. So if we could just kind of keep grinding on that, getting the DSO for as many people as we can in the village, I think it's a good direction for us.
Yeah, let's revisit that on the next agenda, our next meeting, because John, you're very new to that, and then.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't
That
think I
was kind of
have
the
either.
groundwork,
Where
the
can we get
previous
a copy of
committee
that?
was doing.
I can send it to everybody, and that's kind of like,
Let's do that.
that's why I've been so kind of OCD about the minutia of getting our committee together, because I think I've sent some emails out, and I'm not even sure if you're on those emails, and now we need this committee together where we have an email chain, and we're all on the
Right.
same thread, and we're all sharing on the same playing field, and we're all using the same information. Now we can begin these things, because, out of context, all of these things are great individual ideas. But if it's not a part of the long-term goal, I just want to recenter everybody to the long-term goal first. Sure, that's fine.
You've got time.
Hey, my problem's are.
Good Jeff. That'll include Tammy. Or she have her own email.
I'll give her. Yeah.
So the next council meeting is this upcoming Tuesday. I'll have this on the agenda. And so we can officially start beginning business as the Firewise Committee, as it's set with all current members. And we're in great shape.
So is there anything we need to do before the next council meeting, or is it just you giving them an update on what's going on?
My only thing is Jake's recommendation is, do you all want to move forward? Like, we have enough committee members as it stands to take a vote. If you guys want to assign this project of the Firewise announcement rollout, I think a good projected date would be anytime after next Tuesday. So we could even pick a calendar date now and give ourselves some leeway, a couple of weeks. We are,
Let's do that after Tuesday. If we have a full.
Tuesday the 11th.
Then let's.
On the 3rd, I leave on a trip and I'll be in Montana for a week. So, and then in September, I'm gone almost the month of September, big road trip, so that's where my schedule starts getting a little complicated.
So 2 weeks from today, we should set our next meeting. 2 weeks from today, on Monday, the 17th would be a good time. And we should have a meeting in between now and then, and I'm
Next
sure,
Firewise meeting?
Yes, sir.
Not council.
yes,
Set
sir,
a full meeting.
yes, sir. Because we're doing things, we're working on something, we wanna get the word out quick, right? So we wanna,
What, give me that date again now?
17th.
17th.
so Tuesday, the 11th is the village council meeting where we'll, hopefully add the 2 new members. And on the 17th, Monday, the 17th, 2 weeks from today, we can have our follow-up meeting, Firewise meeting. We should have an agenda set for that. And, between now and then, we should assign somebody to come up with these ideas for our official announcement. And with AI, it's not terrible if we just work on that a little bit. We just gotta make sure we get the logos right and things like that. Does anybody wanna volunteer to take that, our flyer for our announcement of becoming a Firewise?
Mike is probably right now the
So,
one that has more knowledge and ability for this.
yeah,
You want to
Yeah,
know
you
that?
plug in this,
so,
It's our Firewise announcement and media blast. It's our Firewise announcement and media blast project. So let's leave it all tied to Firewise and just leave it all around that structure.
And I guess if we could, let's just consider this under new business item C. And if you all would make a motion and Mike, if this needs to change, please stop me, but somebody would make a motion to have Mike mock up a flyer and have it available for the next meeting on the 17th to then review and decide if it's ready to go to council or next steps for that document. Is that acceptable? Because then it will be tied back to an official agenda item. It was already on here.
That's okay with you.
yeah, I'm just
Mike, if you,
thinking calendar wise here again, so
Mike,
what day?
The 17th. Is that
I'll still be gone. I come home on the 18th.
okay?
I'll be, yeah, I go a week from Wednesday is,
we can move that meeting. It's up to you guys.
Yeah.
19th, which is better for you.
If you need a day or two to come back, if you want to push to the next Monday, we can do that too. It's up to
We
you
could
guys.
attend via Zoom, right? Or-
You can, yes. Yeah, it's
Sure.
up.
yeah, that,
I can tell you, I'm not a huge fan of it. My preference is always in
Yeah.
person.
me too. Yeah, I think maybe to be on the safe side, say the following week, the 24th,
Okay,
somewhere in there.
So Monday, the 24th, somebody want to suggest a time?
4 p.m., 4 o'clock.
is that open there on that? Sorry, he was just pulling up the actual calendar here.
The 24th is also open.
24th is open.
Yes, but it doesn't, I don't think anything you pass on that day would get to that council meeting on the 25th.
Correct.
Mike, if you want to stop by my office, let me know. Let's make an appointment. I'll help you build it. I can show you a couple things. I can help you build the flyer. I just, somebody's got to kick me in the butt and make me do it in that moment or it gets piled on. So
I know, do you want to play in a little work? Do you want to play in just a little?
Well, I think that.
Are we able to have
Session.
You
2 members?
You absolutely can. So the example I will give here is Workforce Housing Committee Chair, it was the chair at that point, had to go do some work with either another committee member or village staff, and then was then tasked with coming back and presenting it at the committee. So that's all we're doing here is we would interface Mike with Chief Vance to start to develop the draft for the flyer that he can come back and present at the next committee meeting.
And
Totally.
another committee member be present.
Another committee member can be present, 2 would not constitute a quorum. So you would not be conducting business if it's just 2 of you.
So if you guys get together and figure out a time that works for you, we can just set our time. If you want to do that right after this meeting, we can do that. We can just set a time and we'll work on this. I don't mind doing that.
Yeah, I think
So, you need a motion.
John made a motion that I will mock up a flyer.
Just have a meeting with you.
And present to this committee at the next, to present to this committee for approval to pass on to council, next council.
At our meeting on the 24th. Okay, great. And I'll
Go ahead.
second that.
Okay. All in favor?
I,
All right, you got one more agenda item left, and it's the biggie.
Yeah, where do we put the sign? I was gonna stay on Station 3, but I don't know if everybody's gonna see it there. Or do we put it right out front? Right here.
Captain Romo had said somewhere here at Village Hall might be the catch-all.
and we got two of these in here.
Most, just a 2 cents is most people who interact with Station 3 already know about Firewise and that type of front. We're really trying to capture people that don't. So maybe people who come in for, some other business function of Angel
How
Fire.
about here, and we save the other one for the new fire station?
Is that typical for communities or they usually post them at their main entrances?
Problem is, I don't think people are gonna be zipping by it
And
at 40 miles an hour. They're not gonna see these things at all. That's why I was thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
I can tell you-
Before the meeting, I was thinking we ought to have some bigger signs.
I'm really good at doing the work, but I'm not good at bragging about it or advertising it and stuff like that. This is not my wheelhouse, so I'll stay out of
I
it.
wonder if Firewise would have some kind of digital stuff that could go on our reader board
They should,
That we can do, I
with
guess.
their logos. and-
Yeah.
That's what we need.
yeah.
I might be able to just take a picture of that and send it to Greg and he can put it on the digital
Idea.
board. That's not an issue.
Yeah, do fire.
Yeah.
Because people will be looking at that.
So I do like one here at Village Hall. We'll have to get,
Yeah,
Approval,
just
of
on
course,
the
but-
building somehow or the post. or-
I'll make a
Like a-
motion that we do that.
where else can we post it that's,
And then look at bigger signs elsewhere coming into the village.
Is there anywhere we could put it in front of the current? Or down by Station 2 coming in or at the current station?
Well-
Or now, we can move them.
So the easiest thing is gonna be not 434, right? If we don't have to involve the DOT highway right away. So if we were gonna do Bill Burgess or, one of the other main roads, that we could do without involving the highway department.
we can put it at Fire Station 1 if y'all want to. I think it'll just get lost in the sauce, to be honest with you. It won't be new. It'll just kind of blend into everything else. But maybe a sign on the side of the road might. I don't know.
How expensive are these signs?
I don't know, I never got any information. These are free, but I don't know if we can get duplicates from them. I think Brian and I talked about, contacting them, see what other resources that they have that they maybe created for other communities that we can just say, yeah, give us 10 of those signs at $20 a piece or whatever, and access through Firewise.
What
But
about somewhere like on Country Club Drive?
We have a little bit of money in the budget. We could probably do advertising. If you guys decide that's what it.
That's the problem, is usually those are posted at neighborhood entrances, right? Cause
Right.
it's usually neighborhoods that are doing this,
Not
not.
driving into Taos Pines.
Exactly.
One at Hugh Valley
Even
Road,
they have a
all
bigger
fine,
sign on
yeah,
their
by the
side.
lake.
If I was,
It's normally where.
if I was hacking the system, I'd have it where you turn on the North Angel Fire Road to go into Lowe's, to turn into Lowe's parking lot. So coming out of Lowe's parking lot or
Yeah.
going in,
well,
that's probably the best.
the little park right there.
If you visit Angel Fire, you go to Lowe's at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That and the post office.
Let's talk about that, or, yeah, what do you think? So one at Village Hall, we can find, do we need to talk with maintenance or manager?
Probably manager where, and yeah, we can obviously get the maintenance department to put them up, but just where we think that ought to
I
go.
want to take these signs or somebody
Yeah, I'll
keep
take
track of them.
So it would be good though if we were passing on an official recommendation. So what do you guys want?
John motioned that we put one sign here at Village Hall.
And the second one
At the new fire station.
at the new fire station.
Entrance to the new fire station. Something.
Unless we think of
Those are pretty, ultimately, those are gonna be pretty close together,
Yeah.
right? Two buildings right next door to each other.
Hey, but I can hang it on the
Look at
construction
that,
fencing.
someplace else.
yeah.
I can hang it on the construction fencing for now. I'm sure the contractor wouldn't mind that, but it's,
But it may
I
be
would
lost.
think the new fire station is going to attract a lot of attention from people, and that might be, it might be, right now with construction will be a problem, but in the long run, might be a very good location to
Yeah,
have it.
And if we get smaller ones.
Well, I thought, you
trade
know,
out.
like the smaller ones for individual houses, I think maybe Firewise already has something. And then if they have bigger versions of this that might in the future be along the highway or someplace else where,
Lindsay Reed already got a quote on yard signs to put
oh, yeah.
for people's houses. We never completed the order because she found out that she was leaving, but the yard signs are separate, you know, but what do we want to do with these two signs?
So
Today,
one at
that's
Village
one thing
Hall,
we can't do today.
and then would we need to talk, maybe one on a village street?
On a prominent village street.
Prominent Village Street.
Like turning into
Going up to the city area
Yeah.
or the golf course, one or the other, that's.
So those are probably your three highest traffic areas, right? North or east on Bill Burgess or towards Lowe's or down by the country club is where you're gonna get most of the traffic. And all three of those ought to have a site where you don't have to have DOT's approval to do it.
And the country club is less other clutter around, so it might get more attention because there's not a lot of other signs there somewhere. Going to the country club or coming back from it before you get onto the highway, but
Well, I think if you, I would make the motion, one at Village Hall and one on a prominent street, because there may be something that, you know, we hand this off to streets department or something, they go, we can't put it, here's the best place they know they can put it. We're not gonna have that info here today.
or maybe, yeah, maybe the median here by the fire station. But they got an elk statue and other stuff there, but it's
That's true.
presumably be out of the way of utilities and other traffic issues, I would guess, but.
Let's involve the manager and Director Epler and. Okay. That's a good idea, and the garden club.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
So if you guys make that motion, I'll take care of it.
Right.
okay, I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. And I think that concludes the business, so we'll adjourn the meeting.
There's one other thing that I think I gotta mention, patient. Second. This is where I have trouble keeping those. Last week I got I don't know if any of you guys got a digital internet invite to the Colfax County Firewise Committee. They had a meeting at the bakery down here.
Yeah, we should include you on that one.
You were on that?
I was on that,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I know Kim right well.
And I didn't know anything about it other than, now I'm on the Firewise Committee. I guess I better go to this thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure what to expect, and it was not a lot of substance to it, but, they seemed to be interested in what we were doing, and I said, we're just barely getting organized and whatnot, and, you know, there was talk of cooperation between the two, but, I just figured I ought to tell you that I went to that meeting now.
Yeah, now that we're.
I thought because I thought I should.
Yeah, that's the bigger coalition of like Oak Ridge, Hidway, West Pine, the Colfax County Firewise Coalition. That was good to keep going.
Yeah, one thing to keep top of mind when you're addressing other bodies that are Firewise, that we're the abnormality. We have a very, very large Firewise committee compared to most. Like they recommend that it's usually small neighborhood, little sizes, and we get over 1,000 people in Angel Fire. So
Yeah.
we were on the edge of that. So I don't know if that's something that people want to copy or not.
Yeah, I don't know, it was said Colfax County Firewise, so I thought, oh, okay, they're maybe big dog above us or whatever, but it was obvious in the meeting that even though we're behind them in getting started, but we're gonna be the bigger dog in town on.
Do y'all know, was it Blackwick or?
And we all work together. No, they meet at the bakery every quarter or something and get together.
Cool.
It's nice, and it's just to get together because they've been doing it for 10 and 20 years. They do the outreach and they have some of these things. We get ideas from them. And like they did the deal at the grocery store. And that's that one public outreach or the outreach criteria. But if we team up with them and do these, you know, public things together, then we get our credits for the program.
And the last thing I'll mention while the topic is on the top of mind is the mailing list. That had been an ongoing request from the Fire Advocate Committee. I'll just put it out there now. We're not able to get a mailing list proper from the resort. It was a hard no, they can't share that information with the public. So If you ask me, the answer is gonna be the same. I cannot get that list from the resort. We can't get a mailing list of all, lot owners or anything else.
Water bill's your best bet.
But now the water bill's digital, yeah,
Digital.
all digital, so we don't mail anything out anymore.
Well, but we have either their mailing address or their email address. We've got to contact them somehow, some way for a water bill.
Is that legal for us to?
It is, I don't think we wouldn't necessarily just give the list to the committee because but if there was something the committee wanted to include with water bills, that can be done. In other words, we wouldn't have you be the one that says, here, send it to these, 2,500 people. You would motion on something to go to council would say, yes, include this with next month's water bill.
Which I think every possible way we can get information to folks, again, some people on Facebook, not me. And so there's, people get their information in different ways and we ought to try it every way possible to make sure people start knowing what we're all about, and what we're trying to accomplish.
I'm glad you represented us there. That was good.
Well, I wasn't sure and I almost didn't go and I thought, I better.
Yeah, I went to one before. It was nice, little breakfast in the meeting and just catching up on what everybody's doing. Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect, so I just went, figured it out. So,
It's quarterly.
I don't know, I just happened, this the first time I just got it on the internet, on the email, said be there, so I went.
Yeah, next time we get them, we'll include everyone.
And in respect to Chris's schedule, we can adjourn the meeting and then,
5:11.
Yep.
Around.
Sounds good.
We're gonna stop.
thank you guys.